is probably one of the worst Astra Vxrs that we've ever seen. So we wasn't expecting to record this video. We are literally in the middle of forging an Astra Vxr, which you can see right behind us. The engine's fully stripped out. Jack's just been stripping down some of this edge here, which we're going to get to, and you might have assumed by this title that something is wrong. Something is very, very wrong. So the internals are all been stripped down over here. These are coarser ones, so ignore those. The Astra ones are sat right there. Now, upon inspection, the customer told us that he had a remap on the car, and it was quite aggressive. Now, we can see that it was very aggressive. So first we'll start with the turbo, which is behind Curtis. So if we spin this around right here and go from this side, if you look here, there's a lot of play, and you can also hear it. So obviously that already indicates such an aggressive map. Now we move on to the head of the engine. So looking here, you can see around this area, no, this is not glue or anything like that. This is chewed up metal. So this right here, all of this chewed up metal around these edges. Now this has been caused by obviously the detonation, so it run into lean or something like that, with the map being terrible. So if we actually get a closer look here with Curtis, if you can't get a close look, if you can see right there,
let me get a stick.
A stick.
The corner there.
So you can see an airline fracture there. There's one opposite there, just here. This cylinder's got it. This cylinder has it right here as well. We'll put some pictures up on the screen so you can see that. Basically each cylinder has the airline fracture, so this head is no good. This head is done, it's gone, that's it. And this is all because of a map that wasn't really for this car. It wasn't catered for the car, it was just way too aggressive. So now we've obviously got the task of forging this car, making sure it runs properly, making sure it's safe to bed it in as well, which is extremely important, which not many people do speak about, do they? No. On that regards, there is a running in process. So with the damage on this, you may be wondering to yourself, what's the damage on the block and the pistons? So if we come over here, obviously we've got the fourth cylinder right here. You can see bits of metal there. You can see where it's been hitting the head on these sides. Obviously 1 and 4 is both up, so we'll jump to 1. 1 is the worst. You can see this is actually a hole. You can see the rings down the side at the back. If Curtis wants to just come around and show you guys, you can actually see the piston ring right down there. Again, you're not supposed to see that. That is not something you're supposed to see. Whilst obviously the second and third cylinder is down, we're going to jump into this bore right here, which on this side just there, hopefully you guys can see that mark. Come a bit more, around a bit more. Yeah. Just here where my finger is, that is indented in quite well, so that's been scoring. You can see there it's took the chip out the top. So this is obviously going to need a rebore. When we're forging them anyway, regardless, we do rebore them, because you put 79mm pistons in, it's just going to drink oil and you're going to have so many more problems. So while you've just been looking at me, Jack's just done some magic, and now we've got 2 and 3 up. So you can see here, this is obviously where it was hitting on the head, which has caused a serious amount of damage to the piston. Right there you can see some of the piston, which is lovely. Well, it's not, but this bit here obviously shouldn't be like this. This shouldn't have caused this amount of damage. It shouldn't have this much detonation on a map. It should still have the pistons intact. We've not inspected the rods yet.
Do you know what interests me? Where's that metal gone that's in there?
That is a good point. The metal that was actually in here, it's not in there.
It didn't fall out or anything.
No, it's not in there. So where that has gone, we have no idea.
It's probably what's fucked the turbo.
It's possible, but at the same time though, it couldn't have gone into the sump or anything, because it doesn't go all the way through. So
It just,
I think it's just
it just
burnt.
evaporated.
So that's quite concerning, really. Obviously, we think the block is savable. Looking at it from now, you might think with that gouge in it, yes, they do the oversized pistons. That's what they are there for, to allocate if anything else is making any of that damage and scoring it out. We are going to inspect the rods. We can only assume that they're in a poor state, if they're even connected and not snapped or anything like that.
Might look like a banana.
A banana. The customer came to us obviously with low compression on cylinder 3.
That's more than cylinder 3.
It's all.
They're all dead.
There's nothing left in there. I'm surprised it even put any compression in there, but at the same time, on this note, a map is going to cause some serious amount of damage, and people might think, okay, let's go on eBay, let's go and get this map, or do this or that or the other. It's not always the case, so don't always go to somebody that's the cheapest. The cheapest maps aren't always the most optional and the best for the car. This has clearly done a lot of damage. It's hard to say, for example, that this is 100% the map. It could be down to driver error or previous owners or things like that. It could be a mixture, but again, this does look like the map has been running too lean, doesn't it? Like very lean.
Yes.
So pops and bangs and all that sort of stuff are good, but when it does this sort of damage, it's clearly not. That can be a huge problem, can't it? Huge problem.
Yeah.
But at least he's got a new water pump.
Yeah, we're changing that anyway.
So yeah, we're gonna strip this some off. We're gonna take these pistons out, and then we're gonna get back to you in about 3 seconds so we can inspect these. So the engine's been stripped down now. We've got the pistons out with the con rods. Upon inspection, the rings seem to be okay. It looks like there's no damage there, apart from obviously where it's kind of missing. The rods themselves seem pretty alright. There actually is a slight bend right here. Very slight bend. Obviously this is the piston 1, so you can see the damage that it took out the side at the top. Again, where this is, we have no idea because we've not found it. The whole block behind you, as you can see, Jack's just cleaning all that up. So where that is, we have no idea. It's not in there. Nah, it had some bits taken off it before it came to us, but it wasn't down to that extent. So again, not sure. It's not in the sump, it's not anywhere to be found, so it's kind of worrying. Obviously you can see the damage as well on top of here on this side, and you can see also the lighter spots which would have been affecting the bore where it's not been rubbing as much. You can see a little chip taken out here. If you look at that, you can see instead of it being straight, you can see it dipping in and all that fun stuff. So that's number 1. We go to number 2. With our dripping oil everywhere, but that seems relatively okay. Obviously we've got detonation on the top here, which has absolutely obliterated it. See the chunks out of the side right there. Hopefully you guys can see that on the camera. Other than that, the rings seem to look okay as well. Oh no, there is some slight damage just there. There's some slight damage on one of the rings. But again, other than that, it's the detonation on the top. So this one is going to be number 3. So you can see that looks okay. Maybe it goes slightly to this way at the top, around about here. Don't know if you guys can see that. The rings again themselves seem to be okay. But obviously the detonation on top as well has caused a lot more damage, which is going to obviously affect the bore. It's going to scrape it and all that good stuff. The bore is scraped, which again we can fix it. It's not that bad, it's not that severe. We've got the pistons already actually here. They are sat right here on the shelf. Use Wasner pistons and PEC rods. That's all we ever use. So he's gone for 1mm oversized, so he's gone to 8 to 7mm pistons, which is what we recommend to counteract obviously this issue that he's got. Now looking at number 4, you can see just the detonation again, but again the rings are fine. So this says really that it's kind of down to the map. because it's very, very aggressive. You can see a big chunk taken out here. You can see little dabs and stuff around here. The spark plugs themselves wasn't actually too bad. How long they've been in the car though, we're not actually sure, so it's hard to say. But again, this is one of them things where this is what damage you can do to an engine. You think you're perfectly fine, got a car, all the pops, bangs, crackles and all that is good for a time, but if the car can't put up with it and it can't deal with the damage, then this is what it's going to cause. So on that note, make sure you guys comment down below what you think about this. Have you seen worse? Have you not seen worse? What do you think? What's your thoughts on this engine? Obviously this is one of the worst we've seen so far, and I'm pretty sure it's not going to be the last. We wasn't expecting to record this quickly, but we thought we'd show you guys because you'd find it quite interesting. But this is probably one of the worst Astra Vxrs that we've ever seen.